Hey guys, Daniel here from Next Level Life, and today we're going to be talking about how to become more persuasive. Now, this is a popular topic today because whether you're trying to get hired at a new job or negotiate a higher salary or even just having a friendly debate with someone, it's really important to know what to do and say during negotiations in order to command that higher salary you're aiming at, or in the case of a job interview, just know what to say in order to convince the company to hire you over someone else. Now, this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while because I, like a lot of people I'm sure, struggled with the job interview thing for the longest time. Job interviews are such a high-pressure situation. I never really knew what to do or say during them, and I found myself thinking so much about the little things that, in the end, didn't really matter that I'd end up blowing the whole interview. But I don't have that problem anymore, and if you have similar problems, then my hope is that after watching this video, you won't have them anymore. Because today we're going to be talking about the 6 pillars of persuasion, as well as how they can be used in any situation from a job interview to salary negotiations, or like I said, just having a friendly debate with someone. Now there's obviously a lot to get to, so let's get started. The first thing that I want to get out of the way is the difference between persuasion and manipulation, because these two words get mixed up quite a bit, but they are fundamentally very different. Persuasion is defined as the process by which a communicator attempts to convince a person or group to change their attitude or behavior in regards to a particular issue by communicating a message in an atmosphere of free choice. Basically, persuasion is the ability to get people to do things that are in their own best interest, but that also benefit you. Manipulation, on the other hand, is coercion through some kind of force to get someone to do something that is not in their own best interest. And with that out of the way, let's get right into the list. The 6 pillars of persuasion are reciprocity, scarcity, consistency, consensus, liking, and authority. And these can get pretty deep, so I'm going to take them one at a time. The first pillar of persuasion is reciprocity, and reciprocity refers to our natural tendency to want to give back to the people we have received something from. And we see this all the time. For instance, when we get a present for our birthday, we send a thank you note to the person who got us the gift. And this extends to the business world as well. Picture this, you're at the office, hunched over your desk, working on a report for your boss. It's getting late and you've been working on this report for the last 10 hours or so, but your boss is expecting it on his desk tomorrow morning, so you can't just call it a day and go home. You think to yourself, hey, only a few more pages to go, I can do this. A coworker of yours, Jake, approaches you from behind. Hey, you still working on that report? He asks. You nod. Need any help? He asks again. You shake your head. No, I've only got a few pages to go, I'll be done in a couple hours. Jake nods and then says to call him if you need anything, and then he leaves. Several minutes later, Paul, another coworker of yours, approaches you and says, Hey Steve, I'm about to take off, but before I go, I want to ask you if you want my tickets for the Lakers game tonight. He shows you the tickets. I'm heading to Seattle tomorrow morning, so I won't be able to go, but I know you're a big basketball fan, and they're courtside seats. They're yours if you want them. You look at the tickets, and then back at your computer, trying to decide whether or not you can make it to the game on time. At this point, Paul notices what's on your computer. Hey, are you still working on that thing? He asks. Yeah, you reply. He asks what you need help with, and you say you'll be fine since you're almost done. But Paul insists, so you ask whether he could help you with the previous year's financial statements, since you'll need that data to finish your report. He agrees, and with his help, you finish the report and get to the game with time to spare. Now that's just an example, and neither coworker was bad. In fact, both offered to help, but one insisted and did the work, in addition to giving you Laker tickets. And as a result, in the future, you'll probably be a little more willing to help Paul than you will Jake. The second pillar of persuasion is liking, and liking is exactly what it sounds like. It says you're more willing to say yes to the requests of someone you know and like. This is why successful online marketers focus so much on making sure they give a lot of value up front before asking the customer for anything in return. It's also part of the reason that the salesman lets you take a cup or some other trinket home when you visit them. Not only does it promote reciprocity, but it also makes us like the salesman just a little bit more. And you can spin this fact to your advantage by giving and helping out wherever you can, just like Paul did in the reciprocity example. The third and fourth pillars of persuasion are scarcity and consensus, and I'm going to take them together since they do relate quite closely to each other. Scarcity in this context refers to our tendency to desire things that aren't easily available. It's only natural to do this, whether it's with money or fame or just a really expensive car. Because besides the necessities we need to survive, almost everything has a value on a relative scale. I mean, do celebrities really need that Lamborghini? No, but it's one heck of a status symbol. How many people do you know that drive a Lamborghini? I don't personally know any. Heck, I don't even know that much about cars, but I've heard a lot of people talk about Lamborghinis in a way that suggests that, at least when it comes to cars, it's not only one of the most expensive cars on the market, but it's also one of the best status symbols available. How do I know that? Well, technically, I don't. Like I said, I'm not a car guy, so I could be completely wrong about the Lamborghini. But the consensus established by the people around me would make it very easy for someone to convince me of the car's prestige. And if I had the money, and the desire to own a car like that, it would make it a very easy sell for the salesman. So how does scarcity and consensus relate to something like a job interview? Well, this is where the resume comes in. Each company has a set of skills that they consider to be highly important in their industry. Many of these skills will actually be hard to find. Verbal and written communication skills, as well as related communication skills like interpersonal skills, the ability to work in a team, and leadership skills, routinely rank near the top of skills employers are looking for most. And that's not just because they're important for the job. I mean, they are, but it's also because from the employer's perspective, it's surprisingly hard to find. But me just telling you, hey, if you get these skills, you'll likely be hired, doesn't really help you that much. So here are a couple of tips to keep in mind when you're going to your next job interview. First, you want to focus on building a rapport with the interviewer. This can be achieved by matching or mirroring habitual behaviors of the interviewer. You can mirror their body language, speaking cadence, or even speaking patterns. For example, say the interview says the word like a lot. You can adopt that same speaking pattern and start throwing the word like into your responses. I mean like more than you would ordinarily. And as a result, they'll naturally start to feel a little bit more comfortable around you. Because, well, we like people who are more like us. We're more likely to want to work with them. Another tip is to learn how to transfer your energy to other people. Some people just seem to have a knack of making us feel alive and energized when we're around them. But how do they do it? Well, building a rapport with the other person will definitely help with this, but laughing, smiling, maintaining eye contact, and having lots of excitement in your verbal responses helps a lot too. For example, imagine you told someone you just got a job after months of unemployment. One person responded, "Oh, congratulations, Cindy, great job." And another person responded, "Oh, Cindy, congratulations, great job." Your reaction to those two responses would be pretty different, wouldn't they? Even though both responses quite literally said the same thing, the first may actually leave you feeling a little bit deflated, especially if you were really excited to deliver the news of your new job to the person, while the second one makes you feel a little bit more elated and happy. And consistent positive experiences to someone's responses obviously makes us like the person a lot more, which leads us back to that second pillar from earlier. The fifth pillar of persuasion is consistency. Nobody likes a hypocrite. Now, people naturally want to be consistent with what they've previously said or done, and for some, it's a matter of pride. For others, it's a way of showing respect to those around them. And consistency can make a huge difference, particularly in situations like salary negotiations. It can be used as a form of expectations management. And expectations management is such a critical part of persuasion, even though it may not seem to have much to do with it at first glance. Think of how the salary negotiations will go differently for the following two hypothetical managers. Manager A promises a 20% increase in sales by the end of the year, and then delivers a 30% increase by the end of that year. Manager B promises a 40% increase by the end of the year, but only delivers a 35% increase. Manager B is actually more likely to get punished during negotiations because he failed to meet expectations, even though he actually outperformed Manager A by 5%. And finally, the sixth pillar of persuasion is authority. This is because we tend to follow the requests of those who appear to be figures of authority. Doctors are a great example of this, and there have been many experiments done that have proven just how powerful of an effect the appearance of authority has on us. The most well-known experiment is probably the MILGRAM experiment, where Stanley Milgram, a professor at Yale, attempted to find out how many people would blindly obey an authority figure by telling the participant to administer an electric shock to someone in another room whenever the learner answered a question incorrectly. Each experiment involved 3 people: a paid actor that would purposely get certain questions wrong, the authority figure who would demand the shock be given, and the participant who would be giving the shock. The shocks ranged in voltage from 165 volts to 450 volts, with each wrong answer leading to an increase of 15 volts to the next shock. To many people's surprise, a whopping 65% of participants administered the experiment's final massive 450-volt shock, though many were very uncomfortable doing so, and all of them at some point questioned the experiment. Some even going so far as to say they would refund the money they were given for participating if the experiment could end. Now, not all of us are going to be doctors, so how can we achieve a similar appearance of authority in the eyes of others? Simple. Whatever you say, or whatever you're doing, project an aura of certainty. There is no quality as compelling, intoxicating, and attractive as certainty. And if you really believe in what you do, you will always be able to persuade others to do what's right for them, while getting what you want from them in return. So which pillar did you find the most interesting? Is there one you'd like to hear a little bit more about? Leave your answers in the comments section below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this every single Friday. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.